had to take a moment there to think what session this is. So, Chronicle of the Crowns, session 5. Right. So, some things have happened. We have Matthew here once again. So, we're going to jump straight into the action. Our heroes, Glarver and Tyrell, came back south from the Weeping Weald with their convoy of prisoners and arrived in Strathfel, which is where Kameron had spent around a week, maybe some extra days on top, basically, sheltering in Lord Beric's mansion, because there is now an army camped outside of Strathfel, composed of, and led by the Covenant of the First Flame. So there is a crusading army now camped outside of Strathfel. Lord Beric has called his own banners to the other side of the river. There's no siege or anything going on, but Lord Beric has called his own warriors and making for another army camped outside of Strathfel. And Lord Beric has been discussing the goings-on with Glarver, Tyrell, and Kameron at the dinner table in the mansion, which is where we're going to jump into. He has finished giving you the information that he promised. You've discussed the situation going on here. Kameron has been able to, jump in with his own takes on things. And currently we're sat in the dining hall of Lord Beric, and the servants are just taking away the last remnants of the food that has been served, and now it is only time for wine until heading for sleep. So Lord Beric is there, basically lost in his thoughts, swirling some wine around in his sort of gilded goblet, and basically staring into the fire in the large fireplace of the dining hall. It is a time of brief silence now, like the weighty things hanging in the air, and decisions to be made. Lord Beric has indicated that he has to go north to guard his own territorial interests, because the crusading army is going north. He needs to be there to see that nothing untoward happens. And it's a moment of silence. There's only the sound of like washing and cleaning from the kitchens coming around, and the spitting of the fire. Yes, Glarver.
I think the dignified silence will be broken by a very loud, shouty, dwarven voice saying, "Well, it seems to me obvious from what Lord Beric has said, given the talk of there potentially being the crown in the kingdom to the north, and that is, after all, what we seek, is it not, my fine companions, that we should, and there being strength in numbers, that we should endeavour to head north with Lord Beric and his forces."
Indeed. I totally and completely agree. However, I'm just contemplating our own preparations, shall we say. Lord Beric, did you mention when you and your armies intend to go north?
It'll be when the Covenant moves. I'll just have to follow them.
Now, the other thing we potentially have to look at before we can join this exodus to the north, Lord Beric, is
expedition.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Terrell. We have a companion, the woman who was with us, Katla, who aided us in making sure we got back to and brought these prisoners back. In return, she suffers from a malady of sorts.
An ailment.
We promised, given how much help she'd given us, that we would attempt to see if we could alleviate it somewhat. However, unfortunately, we do not have suitable alchemical facilities, although our companion Kameron is skilled in such an area.
Quite skilled.
We wondered whether it might be possible for us to beg your indulgence, and if you had access to such a place that we might use to attempt to help our companion.
Alchemy, you say?
Yeah, of a sort. I can't claim to be any expert in the field, to be honest.
She
All seems a
said
bit
that
wishy-washy to me.
her ailments would require alchemical means to assuage, and we are
Yeah.
familiar through Cameron what these arts are like. However, we don't carry an alchemical laboratory on our backs as we're marching,
No.
so to speak.
Quite sure that the barber is not an option.
No, I believe it's quite beyond that.
Yes, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah.
I hope you didn't bring the
Oh no,
plague
she's
into my city.
it's
He
quite
says as he takes a
contained.
drink.
It's quite contained to her own, shall we say, vessel.
Personal troubles, then.
Yes. But they are tied with this king in the north. Apparently, it is through him this malady has affected her. So, we all, of course, have stakes involved in
Do know
ensuring he
that
no
she
longer
might
rules
be.
there.
You do know that she might be a spy for whatever this
No. We're
person is.
I'm
we're
not.
quite content with her honor.
I'm
Don't
not
worry.
saying it's impossible, Lord Beric. However, she was instrumental in our victory in the glade and capturing those prisoners. Without her help, we almost certainly wouldn't have been as successful as we were.
It certainly would have been more lively. Let's just say.
Indeed. And in recognition of all the help she provided, we have sworn to attempt to help her with her problem. And as you know, I take such things very seriously, Your Lordship.
That
do
does
take
change
them serious.
things, doesn't it?
Yes, well, it does to me.
Although I'd be willing to make an additional oath if it would make you feel better, my lord. We swear to, I believe the humans would say, clean up our own mess should Katla prove to be more than she appears.
I would be wary, Tyrell, of swearing oaths for other people. That's a dangerous business.
It's all right. I'm
Tyrell?
only swearing it for myself, cleaning up our own business.
If you wish to, there's an opportunity for you here
Okay.
to get some persuasion going.
Oh yes, I have wanted.
You're quite literally doing
yes,
that.
I have wanted to kind of get that going
Yeah.
as well. I didn't
Yeah.
say that last time. Yeah, totally. Thank you for bringing that up.
So your statement being, "Hey, we are offering you that we're gonna, if there's problems, we're gonna
we'll
deal
fix
with
it.
that shit.
Yeah.
If you only let us, access this,
You got to help us out.
whatever we
Yeah.
need. Like,
Sure.
you give us what we need, and we'll deal with the problems
So
if they arise.
persuasion is around
It's
the will.
based on will.
Yep. So that's already set. Perfect. I just have to hit the button then. No help or advantage.
Yeah, because you don't have it, right?
I don't have it now, right?
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
can't
so
be-
it's
it can't be
baseline.
forked or helped or anything. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
I'll spare. I might roll fate if I can, if I get any sixes.
Yeah.
But and the base obstacle for it, you're just gonna hit one
It
for
is.
now?
It is. So how social skills work? The majority of the time, it's versus against like a static
Oh,
obstacle,
perfect. That's
and
easy.
the obstacle is based on the person's will that you're talking to.
Cool.
So
what is my obstacle?
Yeah. So your obstacle is 4, which is going to double to 8, as we know.
So can I just put in 8 then and be done with it?
You put 4 in there, and the sheet will.
Oh,
double
it will do it automatically.
Yeah.
Got it. My bad. And
So if you fail, which you have done, and there's no 6s,
just
which
obviously
that was kind of expected as well.
expected with a skill you don't have.
It's
Hey, still 3 successes is not bad for a skill I don't have.
and the consequences I was gonna go into, but I realized you're gonna get this anyway. So unless anyone protests or wants to break off to do something else, he's gonna do that right now because you're bringing it up now, and he can address that immediately. So he grows very sullen, and he gets the carafe, fills his like sizable, like lordly goblet to the brim, like slams it in one, basically like a half a bottle of wine. Just
Yeah, we forgot he was a heavy drinker.
he puts it on the table, stares into the fire for a bit again, and says, "My lord Elf, I believe I have what you need, or your friend needs. Come
Much
along."
obliged.
And he stands up, heads off. So if y'all want to tag along, he's gonna show you.
I shall follow.
Likewise, I'll give Cameron the to come with us because he's the actual alchemist.
I will follow.
Right. So Beric walks and is met by in sort of the entrance of his mansion. There's a servant who's headed towards the dining hall with a fresh bottle of wine, intending to fill the carafe. And you meet in the sort of like foyer, and Beric just motions for them, like grabs the bottle and heads out the manor, and leads you down the same road that you entered through to the same square that you saw the statue, which you, Garver, you were inspecting, and you concluded it was the wrong kind of rock to withstand the weather. And there's a house made of stone, which is slightly rare here because they don't have a lot of stone houses. They just built most of their stuff from wood, but it's a stone house. It's like a story and a half. It's sort of like tall ground floor and then like an attic at the top, kind of situation. And he fishes out a large cast iron key to open the lock on the front of the large doors, clearly meant to take stuff in and bring stuff out. And he takes off the lock and the chain on the door, opens up the double doors, and sort of motions in. It's dark inside. It's evening because you finished dinner, so like the sun has set. It's dark. There's not really lanterns a lot aside from Beric and maybe some of the like taverns and whatnot. It's torches for the most part, if there's any light at all. And he motions like this is, I believe, what your arts require, or your friend's arts, or problem you're dealing with.
Most gracious Lord Beric, and given when we previously met here before our travels, you somewhat lamented the lack of decent drink or the limited supplies you had available. If it were possible for me to procure certain supplies here, I am something of a known brewer of fine ales amongst my kind. I would deem it an honour to use some of this equipment here to make a brew worthy of a person of your stature.
Takes a moment to think and says, I don't think you would be able to immediately start brewing. You would probably need something else, but I will have people sort it out for you.
Thank you.
It would be wonderful had you the time. And he motions like hands wide sort of at everything. It's like, and none of us really do.
Perhaps
if
for
we
later,
do
then.
have the time, my dwarven friend, I would be honored to have something that you brewed here in Strathfel. And he's starting to get into, like, the wine is starting to hit him a bit because he's been putting it away.
I'll also hold out my ever-present, like, mug like that so he can, like, tip some in, thinking, like,
yeah,
it's probably not going to have that much effect on me, but, tapping some of it away from him might not be a bad idea at this point in time.
Yeah. So he gives you the, like, just, like, a couple of glugs.
Your good health, Lord Beric.
Well, I don't know that there's much anyone could do about that. This used to be my... He goes over to, like, a stool, like, brushes off some dust on it. Like, this used to be my mother's workshop. He says, like, biting his lips and looking around. Yeah.
It honors us that you would allow us to use your mother's workshop to save our companion from a fate, dare I say, is worse than death. So we're honored. Thank you, sir.
Well, as fate would have it, that'll be one for your songs, I think. my elven friend. Is this the thing that?
Yes, I'm definitely going to weave in the beer brewing and curse breaking into the ballad that I am preparing for Gloria and his eventual wooing of his lady back in his homeland. Hmm. Perhaps, my lord, if our campaign is successful, I'll compose something of a march for our, or even a ballad, depending on how long this campaign takes.
So
I'll think on that.
if you are seriously going to do, and he's sort of, he goes from being like flippant about, oh yeah, you sing, right, into like, oh,
There's no
well,
flippancy about that.
like this guy's actually like earnest
Everything is
about this.
taken serious when it comes to
So
song.
he says like, if you're actually doing this, maybe you could say something nice about Estris. I'll put the name in chat.
Is that your mother?
That's my mother, and this workshop is what killed her at the end. Well, not directly, you know.
From the alchemical fumes, perhaps. Cameron's explained.
Now the points outside to the, you know, the square with the statue there. It's like, no, they burned her as a heretic. It takes up.
My God.
Yeah.
You believe in gods, don't you? Here, don't your gods frown on murdering people for expanding the fields of knowledge?
It's, you know, the wrong. Maybe the covenant isn't in where you are from.
Certainly not.
But yeah, they didn't approve when they first came around here when I was a wee boy.
We don't really approve of them, now do we?
No, sometimes you don't. Sometimes whether you do or don't doesn't matter.
Not where I'm from, but yes, I understand.
Yes, must be much simpler in your home.
Yes,
Lord Elf.
Well, you know,
you hang a few of
them from the trees at your border, and then eventually they get the message that they're no longer welcome.
Have you seen how many swords they brought to my door?
I do have a few ideas about how to make this feel a little less one-sided for you, Lord Barrack. So
there is no shortage of trees.
I know all the sides of this. I have known it since they birthed my mother, tied to the statue that her villagers built for. I don't need you telling me, Mr. Elf. I know.
I understand. I understand what you mean. I am simply saying that you are not as alone as you seem to think that you are.
No, I have the spirits with me, he says, and raises up the wine, takes a glug, and says,
I was make yourselves more temporal.
Make yourselves at home. It's the no one's gonna use this anyway.
I'm assuming we've scooped up Katla on the way here.
Yeah, Katla can be.
Yeah, I'm assuming she's probably following behind us, just watching and waiting, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, Katla, if you could explain your predicament to our.
Well, we should let
our colleague Kameron.
Probably let Lord Barrack leave first, right?
Yeah, Barrack is sort of like heading off, unsteady gait.
In fact, actually, I will see Lord Barrack to his home. I will escort him myself.
That's a good idea, Terrell. Good idea.
Yeah.
Human magic is not for me anyway. So
and then I'll be like, and once they've gone, I'll be like, so, Katla, if you could explain perhaps demonstrate your predicament to Kameron, he is of the alchemical persuasion.
So Katla removes the full helmet, and you see this. It's a woman of very, very pale complexion, sickly, looks malnourished, sort of sunken eyes, and fairly strong dark hair though. And there's what you can only compare to like a point of starlight somewhere like deep within the eye. That's sort of like there's like a pinprick of light like deep inside the eye.
No iris, just a pinprick of light.
There is, but it's sort of in the middle of the eye. The eye is, as far as you can tell, normal as such, but from the center there's a pinprick of light.
What did this to you?
I am Well, my apologies. I'm doomed. I don't know how to properly explain it.
Does
I'm
she appear?
sorry. See, she starts putting the helmet
No,
back on.
no. It's fine. It's fine. I have seen an unusual complexion every time I look in the mirror.
You see, Cameron, from my understanding from previous discussion with Catler, and obviously, Catler, please correct me if I am in error. She is trapped in a sort of living death. You did say, Catler, that if we were to behead you, you would recover.
I would rise again.
Exactly.
As
Now,
a head, or would your body regenerate?
There is no. I would be fine.
Now, I'm not sure on this, Catler, but do you wish to, in terms of a solution, are you looking to be restored to your prior living, for sake of argument, self, or are you seeking a final repose?
There's no undoing the doom with anything we have here, but I did, and she looks, Matthew, and Cameron. She looks confused and discombobulated about what she's saying as she says it. But there's another reason why I wanted to be here. There's because of this. She holds up a sack, which is very dark stained from the bottom.
Your trophy.
Yes, I need to coax a vital essence from it. And she puts the sack on a free table in the sort of workshop space, and opens it, and it's Cameron. It is the length of a human spine and a flayed skull, and it does look fresh.
Is it human?
Yes.
For what purpose do you wish its essence?
Her demeanor changes. She holds her back up straight and turns to you and says, well, there is a particular attribute that the former possessor of this spine and the skull possessed that allowed for him to turn on his own people after having been coaxed, I suppose, to do so by the envoy of the king. Now, I will need help with this. You have a steady hand, says to Cameron, looking at you.
Not as steady as it used to be, but pretty good.
Right.
Seen some things, my dear.
Oh, we're about to see some more, I suppose. Very well. I suppose because you are here, your intent is to assist me in this. It looks to Glarver as well.
Yes, I swore that I would, did I not?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes.
I tend to only work with alchemists and sorcerers that I know well because the art in itself is inherently dangerous. And I sort of glance at my two other companions, but they have vouched for you, so I am willing to.
I am like the mist. I am not here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tyrell
in your direction.
But T-Rail did say that he was he was into it earlier. So yeah.
I have no doubt about Catler's courage or sense of honor in battle. I have fought by her side. I can attest to that.
Yeah, but there's much good and ill that can be done with such art.
Oh yes, I know. I am not a knight. Not at all.
What are you? What were you?
So let's start with this. And she starts going over the materials and sort of setting everything up.
Does she appear to know what she's doing? Does she appear to be?
Yeah, she is preparing to extract some sort of distillate or some property out of this spine and the skull.
I will assist as earnestly as I can, keeping a close eye on her. So.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well.
And likewise, if they ask me to like hold or fetch anything, I'll do that. But I'm not really down with this alchemy, so I'll just be like, do what I'm told.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Katla is gonna make a roll
He
here.
passes that staff for a second. I needed to hold this book up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like wash this, boil that.
Where did you learn your craft?
The back is no longer straight, and she says, "Oh, I suppose I just picked it up along the way."
Most alchemists are taught at school.
So, Kameron, you're helping.
Yeah.
I suppose with alchemy as well.
That's the skill I was aiming for.
Yep. So there's going to be your help.
Obviously, if any of my brewing or stuff can be of use.
Yep. Not quite. This is sorcery.
I'll give this a.
So's my brewing.
Yeah, it is. It's dwarven magic.
Okay, I shall give this a shot.
You don't need to roll for anything.
Oh, okay.
So what you're doing is you're giving Katla a helping die, because Katla is doing the thing.
Right.
And we're gonna see if no. And yeah, there we go.
While I'm observing it, can I get a sense if she's knowledgeable about what she's doing, or if it's like she's following a recipe that she's just been told? She doesn't actually know.
She knows exactly what to do.
Right. Those two different things.
I would also like to, in addition to what we did last session, because I've pretty much worked out there seems to be like almost two separate personas inside her at least. We've seen a little bit of that since we've got back to Strathfel with what's been going on. As the alchemy's going on, I'm going to be paying close attention to that, because I'm just trying to sort of work it through in my own head. Like, there's certain times when like certain personas seem to like come to the fore, so I'm just trying to sort of work out a little bit more about like what these two personas are and how they differ from each other, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So the whole time this is going on, for most of the time, basically when like focus is required and like specific actions, very sort of confident, knowledgeable, self-assured, like focused, not confused at all. And then when there's downtime, like, oh, we're waiting for this thing to heat up or whatever, like the shoulders slump a bit, and there's the more, I suppose like knightly sort of demeanor, more of like the sort of fighter that you fought with. And when it's like, oh, we need to put the solution here and mix it, it's all like precise movements and a very different demeanor in body language.
One thing I will pay attention to is like when we're talking to her, like using her name, when we say like, oh, Katla, what's going on with this or whatever, is there any sort of difference in like the response times between like when she's in one persona and the other? Like, can I gauge like which one is Katla effectively?
Yeah, it seems to be the swords woman.
Okay.
The other one does respond as well, but it's and
it seems to be more the imperial one, the more magisterial in a way.
Yeah, more sort of like you would expect from a person who's been taught basically like court manners. Yeah. That's kind of what the other person is about. And Kameron, you can see this too. Like it's not hard to discern that there's two very different demeanors going on with this person.
Something's funky.
So she's going to make the roll, and I'll put in a helping die from you, and Glarvir as well, because you're being a general help. If you want to be tied here, by the way, you don't need to put the helping die in, Glarvir, if you don't want to. Okay, cool. So there we go. Yep, we made it. So she has extracted, she has used solutions and techniques to reduce the spine and the skull. And she has extracted and distilled something from it. And now there's a solution that you've trapped in a securely sealed lead container, like a lead vial, I suppose. And it's being sealed with wax and all that. Like it's good to go. And the rest is basically tossed in the trash. So there's some like bone scraps and whatnot, but it takes you like several hours of the night to do this. And eventually you will have distilled this. And while you're waiting for the wax to set, Katla is sort of the relaxed version, and says, I said earlier I'm not a knight, and I'm sorry for lying about that.
It's fine, all water under the bridge now, Katla.
And my name isn't Katla either. I don't remember what it is.
Well, if you don't remember it, Katla's as good a name as any.
Yeah. I think Katla was someone I knew from before. I think that's what it is.
Besides, in amongst dwarves, a name is less something you are given arbitrarily, and it's more a sort of oath you make to yourself. It's the person you want to be. And for me, that holds more value than all the fanciful titles that someone might have bestowed upon them.
We're going to need to talk soon.
Can I tell if she's possessed?
Tell me what you would roll to determine that.
Oh, well, I've got demonology and angels. That could
You've used that before to discern some of this kind of thing. You used that on the corpse.
I did.
In
I
Warbeck.
did. It would depend if I think it's something angelic or demonic.
Yeah. You pick.
I think, judging based on what we found earlier, it'd be something demonic. So I'm going to look for some telltale hints.
Okay, give me a roll.
Oh boy. That's the problem. I got to roll. I don't have any advantages. Half the dice. What's the obstacle for this?
2.
2. Okay.
I think it was 2 for the corpse as well.
Yeah.
0. 2 and a 1.
Nah.
but you got a difficult, test for it.
Oh. Is that because I completely failed?
No, it's because you figured it out. There's something there in addition to whatever is there normally. And you think that's like the one thing that you focus on is the starlight in the eyes. Like that doesn't happen. Like you might have seen some shit during your years of being a rogue wizard on the streets and the back alleys, among which you would perhaps count arts necromantic. When corpses rise, they don't have that going on. So you're quite convinced that there's a fell spirit inhabiting this body here. Perhaps in addition to like another spirit that should be in the body.
That would explain a lot. Okay. Well, I'm going to play it cool for now because I don't know the intentions or which is which at the moment. In gut feeling would be the alchemist is probably the. Oh, then again, maybe it was the messing with alchemy or something that caused this. Hmm.
Well, as you're waiting for the final wax seal to set, you're sat there being like, "You're possessed, aren't you?"
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm looking at. It's more like the way in Glavius talking to the conversation. Oh, I'm not really a knight. I'm really something else. Something else.
Like it definitely does seem like more than just your average necromancy, which isn't too far away from just straight up possession as well. Like it's a particular kind of that.
I exchange a glance with my familiar as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, yep. Gotta watch that person.
Right. So you've completed the sequence. Katla has the lead container with the distillate and nods at the final wax seal, having inspected it and deemed it good. Tyrell, if you wanted to come back at any point in time, you will have been able to do so.
I have things that I need to attend to,
Yeah,
but
right. So,
I'm not sure if this is appropriate time for it or not.
Yeah. So Katla approves of the final seal, puts the container away, and with a straight back, says, "Well, now there's a more intense process which I wonder if you can help me with, Kameron. How are you with the arcane arts?"
Sort of fold my arms and I'm like back against the table. I'm familiar.
We have prepared the essence. Now we need to make use of it.
What do you intend to do with it?
The shoulders slump a bit, and she says, "There's help I can give you if we do this, and then we can." Yeah, she seems completely lost as to what her own plan is. I need to take the power that was in Essegar that allowed him to be what he was, with the empowering mark of fealty of the king, and yeah, I think that's it. That was the deal. Yes.
The deal?
And she straightens up and says, "Yes, I wish to talk to your elven friend as well."
If that's the case, then I will magically reappear.
If you call,
I will leave my business to later then, but I will appear. Yes, presumably having safely brought Lord Barrack back to his.
Yes. You help him get back, and it wasn't for nothing. He's been putting it away for a bit, and
that guy wasn't getting home without falling face first.
No. So
we don't really need the lord of the town that we've been dealing with to be assassinated. So, yeah.
So yeah, he's safe home, presumably, and you're back. So
the door will swing open, and I will say, someone was asking for me.
Speak of the elf.
Indeed.
And he shall appear.
I shall close the door behind me. Katla, how may I assist you?
There's a great work that needs to be done here. It will be dangerous. Some over on that side of the river indicates where the camp of the Covenant is.
Yes. The humans like to burn people.
Yes. They will find it offensive, and I do think we will find it difficult to hide it from them.
Difficult to hide.
So this will be risky. They will have their own watchdogs and eyes on the lookout for this sort of thing. And we do not have the craft here to keep all of that away.
So it sounds to me like what you really need is some sort of distraction.
This is where my mind went.
Perhaps caused by someone who's incredibly good at drawing attention to themselves.
Well, I did in my own mind want to perhaps, so to speak, delay the march of this army for at least a few days, so that we could make our own preparations. We cannot trust the flame priests, even when they are living flame priests. So
you can trust them to do one thing very well.
And that is to burn things. Yes, exactly.
I have been lying to you since the start, and
well, we did perceive that.
Like she trails off and sort of like holds her head, and that is unfortunate, but it had to be done. We knew not of each other. We've come so far.
It's understandable.
Whether you forgive my lies at this point or not is immaterial, for we are in more or less the same situation here. Now, I am interested in our future and where it might lead. I cannot read the future right now, but I am confident that you would be capable. You have shown yourself. And she leans back on her chair and just cradles her head and starts talking to herself. It's like,
let her speak.
I'm not putting these people in further danger. No.
With respect, Cutler, that's not your decision to make.
I think we've earned allowing her to speak. We've helped you thus far, have we not?
Indeed, lay your potential danger at our feet and let the decision about whether we sally forth into it be ours.
It's not as if we have been shy about it thus far.
Quite.
There's she claws at her helmet for a bit with her gauntleted hand, and squeezes the hand and sort of forces it down. And she says, I would you what are you looking for? You came to the north for a reason. No one comes to the north without a reason. Why are you here? And this I will highlight. This is the slumped shoulders.
This is her normal
nightly Katla. Yeah.
We have been remiss. We apologize.
No, just tell me. Be quick.
We're searching for a crown.
The crown, yes. The lost crown of humankind.
She nods for a bit, and
I think your former master has it.
Right. It's not for you. You don't need to. I would have you then join forces with me.
I thought we already had joined forces.
Well, first let's excise the lies and other.
Yeah, let's go on out with it then.
We're all ears.
I would need one thing from you. You have suggested a distraction for the Covenant.
I have my own reasons for
they don't
to do
need
that.
to sacrifice themselves.
No
I
one's
would
gonna sacrifice
benefit
anyone.
from your proposed distraction, if only to draw their eye for the preparation will take a moment, but the act itself is the one where I would need their eyes to be focused elsewhere. It doesn't need to be prolonged.
I have an idea as how to arrange this, yes.
But if we can make this happen, I will tell you where the crown is. And she leans back again. It's like, You were sending these people to their deaths.
The other Katla has been holding out on us, Flavia.
Well,
I'm not sending you to your... No. I won't do it.
Can you two please just get on the same page for a moment?
No, this is wrong. She reaches for the lead container and just like goes to throw it on the ground and is like
Katla.
she's like shaking in her like rusty as armor. Just like,
Let's not do anything too hasty.
yeah, she's just like locked in place. The plate's rattling a bit as she like struggles.
I'm gonna just quickly whatever she's trying to throw on the floor. I'm just gonna quickly try to go for it and grab it.
It's like a lead container.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to grab it out of
seal.
her hand and kind of take it to like put it on a table where it's safe or something like that, so that she's not.
She stands up
anymore.
and like thrashes once at the alchemy table and then like stands back from it and just sort of like hugs herself.
Katla, the Katla, not the other Katla. Can I speak to Katla, please?
I know where the crown you seek is.
Okay, so this is other Katla speaking. I'm thinking, right?
Straight back.
Other Katla. Can you just? I'm very interested in what you have to say, but may we speak with the regular Katla, please?
There's no Katla here. You were told.
Well, whatever. I wasn't here. Was there something that I missed?
Yes.
What is your name?
It's well.
Kameron, thank you.
One more thing that I would be very glad to share with you. This is difficult for me now, and I do apologize. I did not plan for this to go this way, but you came along, and I will not squander this chance now that we are all here and we are so close.
Well, what is it? Come on. I have not all night.
I need to regain my gift, and I will be able to not only tell you where the crown is, but I might assist you if you would ask for such. And at the very least, you would find an ally in your struggle.
Well, I mean, I thought we already had agreed to assist. I thought we already had an ally.
Until this point, this was a ploy for something else, but you have proven yourselves to be something that I did not expect, and I am very joyous for whatever fate brought you all here and interrupted this. I've not had to ask for help in such a long time. I find it very difficult after all these days that we have spent together. Yes.
This is the straight back.
Yes.
So what should we call you that we are speaking to right in this moment? I don't deal with nameless entities that may or may not actually exist.
That's more Cameron's bag.
That is true. That is more his thing.
She says, I am called Rathawen.
Can you
put that in
spell
chat?
that one? Yeah. That's definitely one I need spelled.
Yep.
Rathawen. Okay, Rathawen. Okay.
Which of you is called Rathawen?
So you're Rathawen. The one that is known as Katla. I don't care if that is her real name. Did she want to do something else with these body parts, or were you trying to do something through her?
No. I did this.
Okay.
She is the help that I recruited before you.
Well, I will make.
I did not plan for this to go this way.
Well, let's make it plain. Do not try to recruit any of us in such a fashion that will go ill for you, I believe.
Oh,
But we
that
are
is
willing to assist.
Mm.
We seem to have the same goals. We want the crown.
Most
you seem to
assuredly.
want a dead king.
No. I want there's something we need to discuss on this front after I have imbibed of the power currently residing in the lead vessel that you have so wisely secreted away from the limbs that I do not fully control.
Okay.
And when you do imbibe of this power, what will become of your help?
Our pact will be done.
Yes, but what does that mean?
It's an
She will
agreement.
She will go back to her rest. And the shoulders slump a bit, and just don't know if they will have me back in the halls of the ancestors after this.
Well,
and
Katla,
is that what you want, Katla? You want to go to your rest?
I didn't want to push. I'm very glad to have met with you, and as I said in the camp as well, it would have been a joy to sit and drink when I was still here.
Living. Yes.
Indeed. However, I have sworn to protect my companions, and I regard you as such. If you tell me that is what you want to go to your rest, that is fine. If you do not wish to go to your rest, that is a different matter.
We came to an agreement. We had a plan, and
you and Rathman.
I wanted to help. It was for the good. There's much I don't understand because it has been a time, but this is something we agreed on.
Well, I will not attempt to interfere with the oath that is between yourself and Rathman.
I concur. Especially if you believe this is for the greater good. We trust your word as honorable.
You see, I'm the one that swings the sword, not her. Yes. I do not understand the rest of this, why I need to sully my hands butchering a man, digging through his innards. I do not understand all this, but I do think that I was there to help Rathawan to break away.
Can we trust Rathawan as we trust you?
Yes.
Well, then that is all I need to hear.
I do not understand her, but
until Rathwan proves herself dishonorable and untrustworthy, I shall take your word for it.
Indeed. Perhaps we should discuss this distraction.
Yes, I have a plan. I had planned to do something of this nature anyway, but since it seems to co-align with our plan here, yes, let's just say that the flame priests are going to have a little problem with their horses, as in they're going to lose them all. Yes, they'll get them back eventually, but it'll take a few days for them to run around and wrangle them back. It should be more than enough extra time to delay them so that we can gather our own, how shall we say, preparations together. I have a plan, my friends. That's all you need to
see. Now I was thinking that obviously the men of this army, they'll be imbibing of the local brews and eating while they're here and such like. I was simply thinking of dumping the contents of my ale cask into whatever passes for a local brew here. It'll be watered down.
Kill them, Tyra.
No.
Kill them, Lavia.
It'll be watered down, obviously, in a whole cask, but the effect should be more potent on humans, and that might cause them additional inconvenience.
I mean, you're welcome to do so, but I believe what Rathwan intends to do is going to cause a bit more of a stir than that, and losing the horses also co-aligns with my own needs.
Oh yes, I have no problems with that. I was simply thinking the danger of these people is presumably them mounting some sort of response to whatever Rathwin is going to be doing, which will be more difficult if they're all, how you say, tanked on dwarven ale.
Cameron, you know the flame priests well, even better than I. Would you say that the ones who tend to hunt the heresies that they seem to see everywhere, do you think they're the kinds of folks to drink heavily? I don't know.
Well, they wouldn't need to drink heavily if it was my...
Drink at all, this is what I question.
They're being led by Archpriest Kilveer. I'm getting that right.
Mm-hmm.
He's a no-nonsense kind of guy. Old school.
He's a war priest if there ever was one.
Yeah. He probably lets them blow off a little bit of steam, but maybe not too much. Like, maybe...
No way to tell, in other words.
Well, I'm sure they'll drink and be good guests, but if they'll get rowdy, I don't know.
Well, Glover wants to make them pass out. That would require them drinking regularly at
We
their
haven't
encampment.
established what Rathwen wants to actually do that would cause such a commotion.
Well, there's the rub.
I will absorb the power that we have successfully
Rathwin's back.
included into this container, and if all goes to plan, I will have the gift of my arts again, which is what we need. I need.
Well,
There will be things mystical to detect for those with the eye to see. Do not quite know how to put it otherwise. My apologies.
no, I understand what you mean there, Rathwin. I'm not an expert on your human sorceries and the strange spirits that seem to arise from the earth, but we know enough of them in my land to know that these things don't go hidden for long. So perhaps Glarvier, it would also be good for one of us to be here in case someone does come sniffing around. I mean, poor Cameron here can barely swing a sword, and he may be needed to expedite Rathwin's plan.
I would have, Cameron, I would have your help.
Yes.
In the task.
Very well, Terrell. If you wish me to stay here to protect our companions while they do this working or whatever it is, I will do so.
You have sworn to do so.
Indeed.
I can, as you know, take care of myself.
Of course. I have little doubt of the matter.
All right, well, strengthen all the friends. I shall go see to the horses of the flame priests.
I want an insurance policy, Rathwen. I've not known you as long as these, but I'm skilled in the arts of spirits.
I have lied to your friends for a week in the forest. It is not something I would call a stable foundation for a relationship. Anyway, I think we are on the same page here.
I think in exchange for helping you with your arts, because giving you such a gift, we both know you could use that in all kinds of ways, in both noble and foul. I want your real name, your true name, and I will hold you to an agreement that you will not use your powers against us or those we deem friends.
Right. If I said you can have one, which one would you choose? Little warlock.
I would take your true name.
And you would be fooled to do so. You shall have neither. There's no way to give this to you. You seek a bargain that I cannot make. I hope there is something else to satisfy you. If you wish, I might be able to share some of my arts. Give it enough time.
Perhaps.
We're all eternal students, are we not?
My friends vouch for you, but they vouched for you before they knew you were lying.
Your friends vouch for the spirit currently.
This switch to the slumped version?
No, she was going to, but then bounced back and stopped talking.
Right. Yeah, just as I thought. Just as I thought. Because my friends do not know the tricks that one such as you do play. I want to make sure that you're not playing as foul.
Well, I invite you to do that quickly, for I much desire to.
And I've already
myself.
left the stage too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're already tending to the
I'm
horse
balanced.
plan.
I'm doing it anyway, regardless of what you decide.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, this is like where the rocket is starting to fire up, and we're negotiating safety protocol.
Yeah, we're on
like
the platform as it's about to go off instead of going inside the starship. Exactly.
I'm not
feel
going
like-
to forget you made me stand there and listen to this, Terrell.
I'll owe you a drink. How about that?
Done.
Did I get the sense that she was being honest though about not being able to give me her name and such like that she just doesn't have that capacity? Want something. I don't want to just give her this ability that could possibly be turned against us.
Okay, let's give me a persuasion roll, and we'll see how it do.
I
How the
don't
banter
have
goes.
persuasion, but I do
It's
have
a good time to
bargaining.
learn it.
Can I use bargaining?
I'm just going to
No.
say, Rathwin, will you swear not to use your new powers against us?
So bargaining is solely for the purpose of making the Faustian bargains that you do.
Right. Okay. Damn. Okay.
She's
so
already
this
made a Faustian bargain with the Katla, so it's like,
Yeah.
I think she's bargained out at the moment.
This is a base stat roll.
You put it down in your skill list at the very bottom is a thing called skills being learned.
Right.
So you put it there.
Yep.
And you select will into the thing,
Uh-huh.
and then you press the die.
Okay. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difficulty, my man?
The difficulty is 8.
Well, at least I know what I'm up against.
Yeah, this is good info for you. Oh, did you fail against the obstacle of 16?
Wait, it was an 8 without unmodified. Oh shit. Okay, so hey,
Look, I got one success,
Kameron,
though.
stop pissing off the mighty, powerful spirit inhabiting the body of our friend here. Just go with it.
So
Tyrell would say if he
That's
was here,
useful
but
though.
he's
That's
Yeah.
out of game useful. That whatever this thing is
Yeah.
just like
And to be fair, we can't
not
really,
Trump.
we can't really criticize Cameron for like doing the arcane sort of dabbleism thing. That's precisely why we.
That's why we want him here, yeah.
Because we don't know anything about it.
So you
Very
can
little.
you can make a thing, yeah, as you did. Nice. So yeah, basically, so Rathawan says, Kameron, Glarvir, absent Tyrell, I do on this night swear that my intentions towards you are not ill, and I shall not put curses or other drivel upon you.
Good enough for me.
it's a start.
Shall we shed our blood in some ritual of swearing and spit in our palms? How does it go?
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
a man
do.
of the arcane arts. I'm not one of the church.
I'll do the old bit of blood, bit of booze in the tankard, or put a bit of blood in. We all have a swig from it. Boom, going.
Yeah, so Katla / Rathawan does the thing.
Obviously, I'll pass it to Cameron after I've put a bit of my blood in it, and Katla / Rathwin's put a bit of hers in it.
You do not want my blood in that thing.
I do, otherwise I wouldn't be offering it to you. Come on, make with the red.
All right, I sort of cut my hand and the blood comes out, but there is a little fleck of silver in there.
You know, I nod approvingly at that. I'm like, oh, metal in the blood.
Not exactly.
Very well.
And obviously we all take a sip out of it.
Yeah. And now that we have completed one ritual, I would hasten to complete the other one.
Right, now, just to quickly check, because obviously I'm protecting these like fools while they're doing this ritual. How many exits and entrances to this building?
It's just the one big 2 double doors.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Yep.
Because I will be positioning myself smack bang in the middle of those doors, shield ready, axe in hand, so if like a load of ornery church force turn up, they're going to get shooing. And my plan's basically to have my back to them and be like a sort of a second door, effectively. So if anyone tries barging through, they'll just go straight into me, and I can be like, "No, you're not opening the doors."
No.
You know,
Right.
put a big like wooden block across it or whatever.
Yep. So Tyrell, you're skulking about the stables, I suppose.
So I'm presuming I have to go outside the city.
Yep.
To where the horses
Into
are
the
kept in the
sort of
army.
field where they're camped.
Yeah. Usually, from my understanding of medieval military history, they tend to be clustered more or less in a similar space, so it should be easy to get most of the horses, if not all of them. And simply all I'm going to do is sneak past their sentries, who are only human, so that should be trivial. I just want to basically make it so that all the horses are going to go, and they're going to go have a party, just not inside the camp, just elsewhere. Disperse those bad boys.
And how do you go about doing this?
So
this is when you be getting that like that skill point. If you suddenly went, actually, I've got the skill horse whisperer.
Actually, I don't have the horse whisperer spell. I don't think. Let me check. Actually, that's a great shout, though. I have to double check because there's a song for that. I think. Bear with me 1 second.
I very much enjoy the fact that when you're an elf, you're like, I'm sure there's a song for
There's
that.
a song that covers this. I don't think I have the one in question. It's like where you can like horse whisper, basically. It's a horse whisperer song. I don't know if I have it. And I think we've discussed with actual songs, something has to really be taught, not just picked up along the way.
Spell
right?
songs have to be taught. Yeah.
So let me just make sure that I don't have the one we're talking about. Where's the book on? Elf song. That's one of the first ones too, I think. No, that's the speed one. Lay of the Horse. Yeah, I don't have Lay of the Horse. I need to get Lay of the Horse, actually. I should do that because I can just call for the horses. But no, in this case, what I had planned to do. I mean, I'm not sure how, like, for what role this would be applicable for. But I mean, it's easy enough to try to scare away a horse, I'd imagine.
Yep.
I was going to say that maybe my elf ranger wise could come into play because I would know, having done these sorts of maneuvers before out in the field when I was a ranger. I was thinking of making sort of like a wolf sound, like, like obviously kind of make it so they think that there's wolf packs coming towards them and just kind of startle them into breaking. Because obviously there's disciplined horses, but they're not suicidal. Most horses will break if they think there's a imminent danger to their lives. So
let me look at this.
Either sing or elf ranger wise, I think would probably be the best one in this scenario.
Right. So like mimicking something would be acting.
Okay.
If you're trying to,
I'm cool. I'm cool with trying to go into some new
So I would like to highlight here as well.
Yeah.
You can just go with your stealthy if you want it to be like, I'm going to skulk in there.
I can. Okay.
Like open their pen or
that's
whatever.
pretty much what I'm doing. So that's fine. Let's do it that way then.
Like there's multiple ways. Like you could do the whole like.
Yeah. I like my idea, but
then,
I think since I'm better at stealthy, like I'm really good at that, I might as well.
Basically, it's a question of like, do you want to try something else? That
I need this to work the first time. Yeah.
Or,
Or else a lot of shit's gonna get messed up with our plans and my plans. So I'll just go with the stealthy then if you want me to roll. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. That's fine.
So it's a 5 dice, 4 dice. Okay, cool. So, and that would be. What's the difficulty on this one? Then?
It's 1. It's going to be opposed by
Oh, so you're
whoever's on
opposing it.
watch.
Cool. So I'll just. I'm trying to think if there's anything I can fork in here. Would it be possible as a fork into this? Obviously, I'm being stealthy, but I'm also having to kind of like find the best place to kind of move, like get past their pickets and their guys. Would like forking in my observation be something that could be done here?
Sure.
Okay. So that's a one extra dice then, right?
Yep. In the help fork, whatever that.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll spare. 4 die is pretty good. I think I'll just have to hope if I get 6s if it's not good enough. I don't have a lot of persona left, so just put a 1 and go. Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh, but I do have a 6 in there.
Well, you.
But I beat you anyway.
Yep. So
God.
that
thought this was gonna go this way again.
So that's going to be a routine for your
yes,
stealthy, I think.
It is, isn't it? So that's a good thing. I need that.
Right. So yeah, you set the horses loose. Maybe you like cause some commotion. Like you steer like a couple of them. Like
I might slap some asses, cause some commotion, and then
they start like running down some tents and whatnot. So general chaos.
That was the idea.
Right. So okay, and then we're gonna blast through this. So Kameron, you know about enchanting, don't you?
Yeah, I know loads of things. Enchanting is one of them.
And Rathawen / Katla is going to very quickly trying to smash together an enchanted bracelet. Now the bracelet does exist. Like she produces like an old High Kingdom style ornate bracelet, and she sets about creating a space for enchanting.
Interesting. She has an old. How long she had that for?
Now, where is my sheet here? No. Here we go. Right. So, well, yeah. So Tyrell successfully distracted the Covenant for the moment. So we're actually not gonna. Well, I'm gonna make a roll for it, but it's not gonna affect whether or not it happens because there's no disruption here anymore because of Tyrell's great success. So we're gonna see something else about that. So, are you going to help with this enchanting?
Yep.
All right.
I'm gonna do my best.
Cool.
I'm trying to work out as I'm doing it as if this person's like a master at the like someone who's really good or a dabbler. Like I'm trying to guess their skills.
Seems to know exactly what they're doing.
What the hell have they dragged out of that old forest? Where's this person? I'm trying to narrow in on what this thing is, but it's not really giving much away, and I flubbed my roll earlier.
Right, so let's see what happens here. Okay. Right. Well, she enchants the bracelet with your help using the extracted essence from the sealed lead container, imbues this bracelet with the power that was in the extract, and is successful in it. There's it's a ritual space. There's some alchemical components to it. It's kind of like a John Dee type situation. There's some sigils. There's some cloth base with arcane glyphs on it, with the bracelet laid in the middle of the diagrams, and you complete the ritual in a fairly short amount of time, and it in fact does take, according to Rathwin, once it's done, and Rathwin raises it up, and Tyrell, do you head somewhere specific after your escapade, or?
Yes, what I would want to do, because I know that they need me to make sure that essentially no one interrupts the ritual, no one shows up to investigate. What I'd probably do is the town, the city, I should say, has battlements, does it not?
Yeah, but it's a wooden palisade wall, so they're not like extra.
That's fine.
Big.
Do they have any? Do they have any watchtowers? Essentially.
Yes, they do.
So what I would do is, I'm presuming that for the most part, the armies and the forces of the town are outside of it at the moment.
They are.
Obviously, they're trying to check the other army. So what I do is I just find one of these watchtowers that's not abandoned, but that would go along the road towards town center from the army. So basically, I want to make sure that I can see anybody that's going to try to approach the town before they get into the town, just in case. And I will stay on alert until.
So you're observing from one of these towers, and you see chaos in the camp, and they're not coming to town.
Happy tune while I see this, by the way.
Yeah, you're like whispering the lay of the horse to yourself.
The horse, I've got to practice this. I really got to get this down.
So the ritual goes off, and Rathwin raises up the thing and nods and says, I thank you, Kameron. Glarvir, I believe the danger, if it doesn't arrive soon, I think your friend might have saved us the trouble.
Well, I will remain on alert until we are sure.
It is done. So
do I understand that they've enchanted this bracelet, and without the bracelet they don't have the gift?
That's pretty much how enchanting works currently. In your understanding, that the gift is in the bracelet, and
interesting.
When she has the bracelet, she has the gift.
Cool. So this
now
is
the gift was originally in the person whose spine and skull this was. but so she starts taking off her armor, and there's she's wearing gambeson underneath, some simple breeches, and slides the bracelet on and closes her eyes and smiles. And there's several minutes pass while everyone's sort of waiting. Does anyone turn up? No. And Glover, you peek a little bit from the door. You see no one in the square.
Now, with my elven eyes, could I be peeking back behind me just to kind of look back towards the square to see if I'm getting any hints of?
I mean, sure. If you want, you can see that they're eventually they will start looking out of the doors.
Okay, then I'm just gonna go make a little song I'm gonna do a little ditty loud enough for them to carry and for them to hear me make that sound, just to kind of get their attention to see if thumbs up, thumbs down kind of a thing.
I'll go outside and I'll be like, "We're done."
Ancestors preserve us.
I'm keeping an eye on this.
All right. I will head back then.
So you can meet in the square, I suppose, with the defaced statue of Lord Beric's mother.
Yes.
So, when you arrive, Rathwin seems very high in spirits and just nods at everyone and says, I would like to thank you. This was strange and not at all what I thought it would be.
So the deed's done then?
It is done, and I can go now, as per our agreement. I don't know if they will take me back, but
your ancestors.
I'm satisfied that we've done this.
Well, I hope that whatever afterlife you believe in receives you well.
I hope so too.
It has been an honor to know you.
She says in again ye old English version of Dwarven. She says I forget what I said last time, but she pulls out one of these Dwarven like greetings or departures, which is something like the roots go deep.
Yeah,
And
I'll do something along the lines of like, may the earth receive you into its embrace.
And I think as a last bit, she says like it'll be good to rest again. And the figure like shifts a bit, and the light goes out in the eyes, and you watch as visibly like color returns to the face. The sort of marks of malnourishment and death like disappear, and there's now a person looking, relatively normal, strong, straight black hair, healthy complexion, dark eyes, and like a noble demeanor about the way that she carries herself.
Rathwin, I presume. Yes.
You would be correct.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. Terail, Prince of Ergethal.
I'm pleased to meet you, and well, once again I find myself in a position where I have spun a web, and not only have I caught myself into it, which was the purpose this time, but it has also caught you. And again, I do apologize. You were not a part of the plan, but you are now.
Everything and everyone is a part of the plan, my dear.
Indeed, all is as fate wills it.
I wish fate would will things a little bit better sometimes.
That's not how fate works.
He is, of course, correct. These are things beyond the control of, well, mere mortals, especially.
So, one more lie. And I do wish to thank you all for this. Like, she fiddles with the bracelet. This is more valuable to you as well than you quite realize yet. But when we were discussing the envoy of the king, that would be me.
Well, that actually makes a degree of sense.
That was me. I destroyed one of the knights that were my escorts, took their armor, weapons, and you know the rest. No, well, you don't know the part where I recruited my help, but
you were a spirit only before, or you were?
No. I am what you see.
What?
I required some assistance in my endeavor to, shall we say, abscond.
I see. I understand the need to protect oneself. Perhaps your lies can be forgiven if placed within that context. Would you think that's fair, Rathwin?
Oh, it is not really that I expect your forgiveness. It is, I suppose, a habit now.
Well, one has to keep in practice with their skills.
Just please be aware that I meant no ill will towards you. With any of this, I'm honestly quite happy that the fate, and she motions to Glarver, brought you to me. Quite fortuitous indeed.
It seems fortuitous for ourselves as well.
Yeah, I do think so. Friend, I haven't had one of those in a while. Yes, well, I promised you something.
Indeed.
You did your part.
Did?
I know where the crown is that you seek. It is not in the north. That is a different crown. I know about that one too.
That seems dangerous, this crown in the north, whether it's the one we seek or not.
She nods, says nothing, but just nods gravely as you say these words. It is not the one that you seek. it is a thing to seek, which is why I presume all these people are gathered here at the moment.
Do you
Well, we
believe the church is after that crown?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Well, you know these flame priests, but even better than I, Cameron. We know that they seek is power over others, over
But their interest
fate
in it really
itself.
is of interest to us as well.
Yes.
If they would seek such a
Rathawin,
thing,
what can you tell us about this crown in the north?
Another bargain? Do forgive me. It is simply it is habits. And these are very old, and they do not die.
We understand. Well,
Your
very old
nature.
is a matter of perspective. That said, Rathwin, if we are to be allies and to assist each other, in each other's mutual goals,
Yes.
sharing amongst one's allies is preferable to wheeling and dealing. Is that how it's said, Cameron? Wheeling and dealing?
that's not quite the term, but close
Well,
enough.
it's like haggling at a bazaar. I mean, we want to help each other. There should be a mutual accord, is all I'm trying to say.
It is a rule set that binds us both.
Is that the case, Rathwin? Is it?
It's very difficult to trust for
Yes.
me.
Understand.
I would hope we have demonstrated our trustworthiness.
I know.
Indeed.
I know. It's on a long enough timeline. Yes. Well, anyway.
Trust brings.
You
Pain,
have some
I
personal
understand.
interest in the
Believe me, I understand, Rathwin.
There is much I could tell you about the crown in the north as well. More probably. I wonder if you are heading that way.
That would seem to be the idea thus far.
Originally, we had come to this region seeking information regarding the true crown, lost to
If
humanity.
the crown we seek is not there, though, then
It
then
lies
our-
elsewhere. It is
That being
many leagues
said-
from here.
That being said, my friends, we cannot possibly leave this region of humanity's territory to fall into chaos and combat over this crown, which I fear has fell powers.
But that is not our job. Our job is to find the crown. That is our task.
Right, but what is the purpose of the human crown in combine the two others? To help hold back the darkness and to create stability. Yes?
Mhm.
And if we leave this country to fall to chaos and the flame priests to potentially take themselves a powerful new weapon,
Oh, they will not succeed. The things that Katla told you in the forest, that she was picking my brain, and
Understood.
that was true. They will go north and they will all die, or serve the king. There's no victory there to be had. They
For them.
will
For
die.
them.
For them, yes.
Well, it seems to
Now-
me we have two choices. We either ask Rathawin to tell us more about the location of the true crown, and we strike out for that, leaving this all behind us, or we head north with Lord Berwick and attempt to aid friendly parties, shall we say, in the retrieval of this crown to the north.
well, we are the only party I would trust with this item in the north.
I cannot stress enough that there is no taking the crown in the north. It
The
is
vibe I'm getting is even the attempt is folly.
no. There is the. Let me put it this way: there is something that I would risk going to the north for, and it is something that I haven't mentioned yet because I do not. I currently believe how lucky I would be if you decided to go north with me and retrieve this thing. There is a particular piece of jewelry in a reliquary in the capital of Siriath, and if I were to have that, I would do my utmost, which is considerable effort, to assist you in doing anything else other than trying to retrieve or conquest the north or retrieve the crown.
Can I ask, what do you believe will happen if we leave the situation in the north to continue to fester? If we allow your former monarch to raise himself an army the size of the one that is outside these gates, what do you think is going to happen?
Everyone here will go to the north, I presume, and they will all be subjugated by the king's will.
And
And
do you think
they
it'll
will come
stop there?
south. They will come south.
Exactly.
They will. This will be the
They will come
king's.
south and they will head west towards
Yes.
the human lands.
Yes.
And who's to
Human
say that
land.
they'll stop at the human lands? Who's to say they won't arrive at our own borders, Glavir? Our borders that are unprepared to face teeming armies of rotting creatures and slaves bound to the dark will of
I'd damn well like to see them try.
Yes, well, they may have some trouble cracking your mountain, but it seems like they would have nothing but time at that stage, having conquered, 1/3 of the continent or more.
So, going to the north only for one reason: retrieving this one thing, and then leaving as quickly as possible. That would be wonderful.
So you are stating, in your opinion, which we are going to have to be slower to trust, of course. You understand?
You would be fools not to doubt me.
You are stating that there is no hope for these lands. This king of the north cannot be stopped.
Not with any craft we here possess.
There is craft out there that we could acquire that would help.
Yes,
Well, I would assume if we were to gain the power of the actual crown that we seek, that might be enough to tip the balance, given its fabled power.
it depends. Those crowns were forged to protect against the dark. If this thing is of the dark, then yes, I presume that it could potentially have some effect.
Well,
If it's not, if it's just human artifice gone completely astray, then
Does
who's
this
to know?
king have this crown in the north? This other crown?
He has his own crown, apparently.
Yes.
Well, it would seem to me that for my money, we should go north with Rathwin, recover this thing that she's after, and then, with her help, find the crown that is the actual goal of our search. After all, whilst I would not like to see Beric's fief, whatever you call it, fall
His
to
domain.
yes, fall to this northern king, and whilst I am somewhat buoyed up by our recent victory to Rail, we are but four. We are here to do a job and to retrieve the human crown. We do not have the resources to save every kingdom, army, human fiefdom that we come across.
I understand. And that is
Dark
not
Watchers didn't
my
task
concern.
me to chase after a crown that's not part of.
I understand.
However, the church is threatening itself, and I would not like to see it gain foreboding power.
And beyond that, these flame priests sound like they'll be meat to this king, according to Rathwin, and then
They will all
she'll grow in strength. They'll grow in strength.
Well,
I believe
Rathwin
this.
says that they would.
Sorry, go ahead, Cameron.
Rathwin believes that they will fail, but however, by whatever you are, your own admission, you are not all-knowing. The church may have something that we don't know about. That
They do have their own powers, yes.
Yeah.
I think there's an old dwarven saying that applies here. I believe whilst we're staring at the pebbles we're at risk of being caught in the avalanche.
You would have us look to the source.
It is my belief that the crown we seek is to deal with a much greater threat and a much greater danger to the whole of the world, rather than this simple fief here.
This region.
Indeed. And
my fear is not for the single fief. It is for my lands, many, many leagues from here, that I am concerned for.
No, I understand. And
you cannot have some mad king raising armies and conquering all of humanity while we're searching for their crown and hoping that that might be the solution. Now, I'm open to learning more information and figuring out what our best move would be, but I don't believe it's wise to leave this threat in our flank, so to speak.
It is my belief that we would be better served by attempting to find the true crown, for such I would call it, just to distinguish it from this northern crown.
Indeed, the true human crown.
Yeah, we were better served by trying to find this true human crown before this mad king can take over the human kingdoms. And
You're presuming that the crown shall be the solution to our issue, and I have no evidence or information that tells me that. So my concern here is that we are leaving this situation entirely unattended. Now, I don't disagree, and Rathwin is wise to warn us that we should be careful when seeking danger.
Indeed, and as you know, Terrell, I have no compunctions about stepping into danger.
No one's calling into question your honor.
No, of course not. But it is my belief that amongst ourselves, mighty though our fellowship might be, we cannot shoulder the burdens of the entire human race upon our admittedly broad and statuesque shoulders.
I understand.
Because we have already placed ourselves at great risk and great peril attempting to retrieve an item that they, through carelessness, have lost. How much more do we need to do for the humans before they will stand on their own 2 feet?
I don't think it was carelessness. I think it was stolen.
You lost a magical crown that united your species. Damn right it was careless.
Glavia, I agree with your sentiment. And I know that it is the way of the dwarves to see the walls of their mountain keeps and believe that that is the world. It's no fault of your own. My perspective, I've had to take a longer view, let's just say. And so has my forebears for centuries, since this situation has been brewing in humanity's doorstep. And we have found it useful. Please, Rathwin and Kameron, take no offense when I say this. We have found it useful for humanity to be a buffer against the dark.
Mm-mm.
We have lived in peace and prosperity, you and I, because our lands retain our crowns,
yes,
and because humanity remains relatively strong and thus far unconquered by the darkness.
True.
My only fear here is that we will recover the crown only to have stopped one threat while allowing another to fester. Now, I agree with you. We should proceed and retrieve the true crown. That was our task.
Indeed.
However, that does not mean that I believe I should not provide some manner of assistance to perhaps forestall a great disaster from happening. And now I've already slowed down the Flame Priests. They should take a few days at the very least to get their act together. And I would like to have taken that time to attempt to put some things into place so that at the very least Lord Barrick's army might have a chance of returning and surviving until we can come back with the crown. Then we can, of course, retrieve this item that Rathwin wants and all this jazz.
I understand, Terrell, I understand. My main concern, however, is that we were tasked with retrieving the true crown.
And I agree.
Were we not? Because the longer the true crown is unavailable, let us say,
the Dark Watchers are concerned.
The more the darkness will creep into the land and corrupt it.
And this may all very well be tied together. as you say.
Indeed, that is why I believe.
However, all I'm attempting
is the do the benefits of helping out in this case, which we may not succeed in, do they outweigh the additional time the darkness will have to get its claws?
That does depend on what aid we can render them before we continue on with our quest. Now, we've already given them some assistance, personally speaking, with our own hands, but I believe there's more that we can do. Again, my concern is not for the armies of the Flame Priests. I hope they all rot. However, I do not want to see this enemy in the north strengthened unnecessarily. So, I have some thoughts.
did say that they could provide generous assistance in our search for the crown if we help them retrieve this gem.
Oh, we will help her retrieve the item, although in the order, I'm not sure. I mean, it seems like perhaps going there now is not the best course of action.
If you are proposing that we return to Siriath at a later time after you have gone on with your primary concern.
I mean, is this time sensitive? I mean, I don't understand time as you do.
It is more a question of detection.
You wish to use the oncoming battle as a distraction. Is that what you say?
I am anxious to retrieve. It is a pendant, I will have you know.
I was going to ask.
Anxious to retrieve this pendant before it is noticed that I have, shall we say, defected.
So it is time sensitive.
Yes.
But I did cover my tracks very well. It is understood that I may have disappeared or perished.
How about this for a suggestion then? It seems whether we go with what Tyrell wants to do or whether we're attempting to assist Rathuin, we are going to be heading north. Is that correct?
Well, everything is intertwined. I know it's intertwined. I think, if I'm not mistaking where you're taking this, Claudia, that we do wish to assist Rath. She's been very kind thus far and is offering us great assistance to find our quest.
They have been fair with us. They have actually not been fair with us, Tyrell. They have lied to us on several occasions.
There are lies and there are lies, Canterbury.
So what I was about to say is, since we seem to be set on heading north anyway, how about we head north with Rathuin, attempt to recover the pendant, and whilst we are travelling north, we travel north in the company of Beric's force. We attempt to provide what aid we can, whilst on our way to retrieving this pendant.
I think, personally speaking, the aid we can render will be whatever we can do to perhaps sabotage the King of the North when we arrive at. I'm sorry, the name of the city was again?
Siriath. I'll put that in chat.
Siriath. Oh, lovely. These old human cities.
It's
the rolls off the tongue.
It's I want to say it's like if you say it in like a specific accent of your people, Tyrell, it's something like the Silver Mountain.
Yeah,
you figured that out after you bit rolling it in your tongue. Like,
yeah,
this seems like, oh yeah.
I wish I had been older when humanity was one kingdom. It seems like it was a wonderful place.
It was a different time. Not always a better time, but.
Well, they aren't always better times. They're just different, as you say.
No, and that is because we are not always better, isn't it? The time is not the issue. It is us and what we do.
Well, are we agreed then that we will head north? Kingdom? We will attempt to aid Rathuin, and we will attempt to throw what obstructions in the way of this King of the North that we can.
Yes, but I'm not done. I need time. I need at least the morning to make some preparations.
We if you have, as it seems like, set the covenant.
Yes, we should have some time. I don't think they're preparing to march north anyway, and they'll delay them even further. So,
if you are intending on heading north with this, army.
Oh no, we
Yeah,
will head north on our own.
on your own.
We'll all
I,
go.
w- I would. You are taking the bargain then. You assist
Well,
me
I
retrieving
think we
the
should
pendant.
clarify.
I will.
Sorry.
Sorry, you go.
Our original bargain was for information about the crown, which we still want.
Mhm.
And this bargain is if we go with you in aid to get this pendant,
You will assist us in
you
retrieving
will
the
assist
crown.
us, and you'll give us information about the crown that's up there as best as your ability is able to, and enable us to complete this task for you, and then help us complete our own.
I believe the expression is, "If you wash our back, we shall wash yours,"
Our
or
secondary
"We will
goals,
be
no,
washing
no,
yours and then you washing ours."
Or
It's all reciprocal.
how do
our
we
secondary goals, not relating to our pact with you, is that we should try and enable Lord Beric to survive this journey, so that in the future he can aid
Yes,
us.
we have some notions as to how we can
the
accomplish
easiest
that.
way for him to survive is not to go north.
That is not an
Unfortunately, he
option.
has no choice but to go north, Rathwin.
No,
Have you
no.
ever been in command, Rathwin? I mean, obviously you've been an envoy and clearly you have powers, but have you ever ruled your
Yes.
own lands?
They were never my lands, but yes.
Okay, so then you understand why he has to go north.
I have a feeling that
As foolish as it
rule is a very different thing for Lord Beric than it was ever for me.
Hmm.
But let us discuss this at a later point. I
Indeed.
would like
Sorry.
to think that we have an accord.
Indeed.
I believe we've had an accord this entire time. I just thought we were discussing the details.
No, it is very important to be precise.
On the principle you do not lie to us any further, for lies the seeds that bear an ill fruit. I do not wish
How poetical.
to taste.
There are worse seeds that I have planted. So I suppose I have done my worst already. So
That does not fill me with confidence.
nor should it. You have my friend, shall we say, your friend retrieved me stumbling in a forest. You have aided me in exercising the spirit that I had conjured upon myself to flee from the service of a terrible presence to the north. And now we stand here with my powers in a state of restoration, and you would be a fool to trust me, is what I'm saying.
I don't trust you, but
And you are wise for that.
there is a foundation where we could build a trust if you deal with
We'll
us
judge her
straight
by her
from
actions.
this point.
I mean,
Very good.
Atla seemed to believe that she could be trusted to a point, and so we'll judge her accordingly from here. I mean,
I've made a fair deal. To be fair, I was very lucky that she was benevolent in that way.
well, she shall be missed.
Not
Hopefully,
always the
she's
case.
resting.
She is yet another who. Very well. So we have an accord. We shall head north on our own, ahead of the army.
I think that would be best. We can move more quickly and with more degree of stealth. And
We have some
once
preparations to do, and then we shall set off
Indeed.
Agreed.
without telling anyone of what we're doing.
It may be wise
I
to tell
believe it
Lord
would be
Beric we're
wise.
going north, but leave the why a little vague.
I think it'd be wise to leave it as vague as possible with Lord Beric. Again, he can be tortured for information, and I don't need any flame priests chasing after us for a heretical treason or whatever they would get in their
Well,
heads.
what say we tell Lord Beric that we're obviously aware that his armies are going to be heading north. We are going to head north in advance in case we can get any useful advanced intelligence.
We shall keep it as such. We are going for a stroll, and in the process of our stroll, if we could find any means to assist him, we shall. I believe it would probably be for the best. I
did tell
trust
us
Lord
the-
Beric. I do not trust the flame priests that are at his gates.
I agree.
Well, he did tell us that he believed the crown was in the city. The
He
north
believed a
Nixons.
crown was
Yeah,
in.
he's-
But he does know we don't know it's not the crown we're looking for. As far as he would be concerned, we are
it's-
just doing what we
Indeed, it's not information he needs to know, but as you say, we can continue north and he will simply assume we are in pursuit of the crown that he has told us about. Since he knows we are looking for a crown, and as Kameron has said, he does not know that we know that the crown to the north is not the one we seek.
I simply do not want to burden the man with more information than he needs.
Agreed. No, what I'm saying is we don't really need to tell him anything. He will just assume we've got.
That's correct. Yes. That's even better. Yes. I like where
could travel with Beric's men. Glavier, you could make the offer of your services as a battle commander, give advice on the journey, if such a thing he would welcome.
If we're simply I
could, but we're not traveling with them.
Yes.
We're going to go on our own.
Yeah, we're going to go.
Okay. I will need to report to the Dark Watchers, but you can do that via letter.
I have things to do as well, so we're not leaving at dawn. I have some preparations.
But one thing we should at least establish before we move is, where is the crown we are looking for? We've not actually asked.
That was Kameron. Patience. Clearly, our friend Rathwin has many more years to live, and we have time. She's not going anywhere.
That would be a part of the bargain. I would be a fool to give that part of the information to you right now, and not have you join me.
But that was at the original bargain when we helped you with the bracelet. That was part of our original agreement.
Rathwin. You seem to be an untrusting person. I understand you have a dark history, perhaps.
And I did meet you in a forest not long ago, which is...
I would say, though, Rathwin, that unlike yourself, Glavier and I have honored every word that we have said to you and to
don't even think Glavier knows how to lie.
Former companion. So
I know how, I just choose not to.
If we say we're going north with you tomorrow, then we're going north with you tomorrow.
Yes. The thing is, you will not be able to cure the many years that are somewhat of a indicator to the opposite when it comes to meeting people who promise you things, including myself. I am a prime example of this.
Yes.
And I make no...
I think what I'm trying to say, Rathwin, if you may allow me to finish, is that my young companion here, who, like you, is vaguely incapable of trust, all that he is requesting is that you show something in good faith. Unlike ourselves, he has not seen you and your former companion in action assisting us. He only knows you to be a liar and an oath breaker, etc. So if you could at least assuage his concern, and we will keep our end of the bargain, and then we shall make you keep yours if necessary.
The true crown, as you know it, is to the south and to the east. Now, the way there is a little bit more complicated than that, but it is to the south and to the east, and then to the east again, beyond the mountains. That would mean, Glavier, for you, the way you know your mountain range right here is basically beyond the mountain range where your two fortresses are located. So she seems to indicate that it's like to the east from there.
Almost off the map, really.
Beyond the two great dwarven cities.
Yes.
Is it lost there, or is it being held by something?
It was taken there a long time ago.
Very well, then I am satisfied with this show of good faith. Let us make our preparations, and when preparations are made, we will travel north, and we will assist Rathwin with retrieving this pendant, and in return, she will use her powers and abilities to help us locate and retrieve the true crown.
I do believe that's acceptable.
I would have one more. It need not be a part of any bargain as such. And I do apologize. It is simply the way that I've existed for some time now. All these bargains. It is imperative that I not die while we go north?
I believe the intention was for all four of us to come back south and then go on forward.
It is even more important that I do not die for a while.
The dark powers and such, yes.
For a while, Katla did represent the facts to you that they were not entirely accurate. I will recover. However, it will not be good for anyone. So, with that in mind,
I am satisfied with that. I've already sworn to attempt to protect all of my companions from harm.
It is also a caution to you that should I die, if the next time that you meet me, we will not have a bargain.
You humans, so strange.
Well, let us do our best to prevent that from occurring.
As we would have done anyway.
Indeed.
I meant to, as a warning. And she kind of, she's a little bit like, oh, I fucked this up too. Like I know I meant it as a warning to maybe, because if I'm struck down, I will come for you, and I will lie then with ill intent.
Your warning is appreciated.
Yes.
Will you remember us?
Oh yes.
Stake to the chest, buried with a stake of holly. Yes, done and done. But only if you fall. Don't worry. We'll make sure that you don't.
Very good. Shall we set about the preparations?
Indeed.
That would be lovely.
Okay. Wonderful. What do you want to do?
I'm going to write a badass letter to the Dark Watchers.
Yeah,
For reasons that are just I really like my admin, you know.
And I was wondering, Cameron, after you finished composing your no doubt stunning missive, wondered whether you'd like to join me in how you say tying one on. Since I don't really have any preparations to make, so I just intend to do an awful lot of drinking.
You want me to write you a letter?
No, I wondered if you wanted to join me drinking.
Sure, yeah. I would be honoured.
Splendid. Obviously, the rest of you are more than welcome to once you made your preparation. Like I say, I've got everything I need with me. I don't really have anything else I need to prepare, so I'm going to retire to the nearest ale house and begin critiquing their ale.
Actually, there is something.
No?
While I write this letter, do you have any friends back home in the Dwarven Mountains we could call upon?
Not really.
I don't know. I thought dwarves were sociable.
Unfortunately, those who are skilled with the runes, like myself, it's not a talent that finds great favour within the halls of the dwarves. In truth, it's seen as almost something of an embarrassment. I have a certain standing due to my abilities as an oath swearer and my ability to witness dwarven oaths, and my distant ties to dwarven nobility. But in truth, the reason I've been sent on this mission is because I'm expendable.
Never say that in my presence again.
No, it's
you
fine.
You are never expendable.
According to the people who have sent me on this mission.
When we are complete with this mission, they will never say such a thing again.
The dwarves of the Great Hold of Molgrat, I think it translates as Hammerhold in your tongue. They are currently engaged in recovering the second lost dwarven city.
Oh, they kept you out of that. Well, I suppose
it's more a case of due to ancient oaths, my people had to show participation in this quest to recover the crown, so they picked the person they believed they could afford to spare. Indeed. Which is myself.
Well, we're glad that you're here. I can rest assured of that.
Indeed. Well, my campaigning days are somewhat behind me, so they thought I would be of lesser use in the in the battle, whereas I am distantly related to dwarven nobility, so it still shows them sending one of their own, meeting the criteria of the oath, the ancient oaths that was sworn, etc. And if the worst should happen and I fall, my loss would not devastate dwarven society in the way that some others may have done.
Well, if you are what's called an expendable dwarf, the caliber of an expendable dwarf really shows the prowess of your people. Well, you have been nothing but helpful thus far in this quest.
Well, I am pleased to hear it. Unfortunately, the person who sent me on this mission, young Prince Thraduk, does not share your high esteem of my person.
Perhaps one day he will.
Well, he once looked upon me more favourably when I was a general and a warrior, but after I embraced what he sees as the folly of the rune casting arts, as I say, I'm now seen as something of a relic, an eccentric, as I say, an embarrassment to my people.
Religious disputes. I never understood them myself, but we view these things a little differently.
They're as far as it goes, with the exception of the trouble it has caused me with my dear Talia, their view of me does not concern me. I've walked the path that the fates have set out for me, and if it is their will, then I will prove myself worthy of Talia when I return to my people by my participation in this great endeavour.
And I would like to think with a little aid from your friends.
Well, yes, of course. Well, yes, of course.
Well, Wheelmaster, I am going to write my letter. I'm going to inform them that we're heading north in following leads about a crown. However, I will add an addendum that we plan at some point to head to Galvier's twin dwarven fortress in the future, and hopefully they could send some relief forces there, at least something we can touch base when we get there.
Okay. So, who are you sending this to directly? There's no headquarters for them.
We don't have a headquarters, but
Yeah,
it's sort of like
they have a fortress that they meet at, but I don't know if that's like normally like you'd probably have contacts more so than like.
Basically, what I'm saying here is you can roll your circles to make this happen, but I need to know the person you're contacting.
Okay.
Because you have an effect there, which is basically, meet us at this location later on, which is something you can make happen.
Yeah, I'm sending it to, I suppose, I don't know if it'll be the head of the order, but maybe the person that recruited me.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to think. It would maybe be one of their wizards, all their arcane practitioners.
Yeah, sure.
Who came across me.
Sure. Okay, and that would be.
I say the name is Thaddeus.
Thaddeus. Do I have? I'm looking for a rules thing. Here we go. So. So I'm going to say obstacle 3 because you have a similar life path to them, but you're asking for an unusual time and place.
Okay, and this is a circle roll.
Yeah, circles.
So I just from the attribute, there's not a skill roll.
Yeah.
Okay. Obstacles. I don't think I can pass this, but
just roll all 6s.
I got close.
Yeah. So, yep, there's going to be a consequence for that, but yep, it is as far as we're concerned, it is a success right now. So you communicate, like you get some runner that you give enough money to make them go, and yeah, we'll see what happens then.
So I get a tick in my thing there, even though it's an attribute, right?
Yeah, the challenging
one. Ooh. Yeah, because I'm not an elf or a dwarf. My stuff, I ain't stacked.
I think I'm the only one in the circles that are really stacked, but that's I am a prince, so I think
I'm
that's
just thinking.
part of the territory.
I'm trying to pave the way for when we get to that point.
To be fair, you were super close though. Like that's a 2 versus 3. It's not that bad,
I know.
Yeah.
Much bigger than, much closer than the 16 that I had.
Yeah, what the fuck that was.
Jeez. Yeah. Rethawen has a high will.
I mean, I think it's all she is practically at this stage of that, it seems like.
So, more preparations.
Was that all from Kameron's side of it?
I think so.
That didn't take too long.
Yeah. So, Tyrell obviously understands both Glarvier's sort of, let's just focus on the job at hand, and the humans are a bunch of fuck ups, and let's just not worry about these things, because he lives in a mountain, and he thinks the mountain's impenetrable, and but Tyrell has been on the front lines protecting his country and the Elven lands for centuries at this stage, so he sees this situation a little bit differently. So what I would like to do is I would like to essentially summon some of the forces that are under my command to come here and make sure that if shit starts to go south while we're looking for the crown, that they do what they can to prevent it. And then I also want to reach out to another resource in this near the rivers, but she might be able to help if she's willing to listen. So we'll start with my guys though, because that's probably a simpler role. Yeah. So I mean, I'd like to try to scare up at least a legion of the guys if I could, but I don't know how many guys I can pull out right now. So let's give it a roll, I guess, and go from there.
Yeah, let's see. So you have that's Kameron.
I mean, I could also probably get some sword singers to come out too as well, some more buddies, but that'd be more like a cadre of guys to kind of help out.
Yeah,
so than a full on.
So you have 2 affiliations, which are in this page that you're on currently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's under attributes. So if you look at circles, you go down a bit, and there's reputations and affiliations.
Yeah.
Yep. So you have 2 affiliations, which mean that if it's about those specific people, you can take the extra die. So it's
unfortunately, I mean, I could like try to summon some guys from the white, from some of the swords, but again, like I probably only command a few of those guys in my own territory. It's the way it's kind of composed in the book. They're more like elite cadres or cohorts of legions, not like actual full-on armies. It seems like to me, like they're like your ace defenders and operatives, essentially. It seems like.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, like it's probably not swords of the White Tower that you have under you. They're probably like the elite.
Yeah, they're probably more like guys that I know, because I probably used to be one.
Yeah, because you are one still, even though you're not currently performing that. But
no, it'd be like some of my old bros getting called up to help me out versus me just summoning my own forces under my own.
Yeah. So basically, you want to look for some of your old. Let me look at your sheet here. Some of your old ranger buddies. Then I guess.
Well, what I was thinking about is because I mean I'm still a prince. I still
want to summon some princes.
No. I mean, obviously that would be a little bit more heavy duty. And they sent me out for a reason. Like obviously I was the guy that got well, I volunteered, but they didn't send an army, they sent one guy, right? So but what I'm thinking is I would like to send a message back to my home, to my guys, to my territory specifically, because obviously there's the kingdom and then there's the part of the kingdom that I rule over, essentially, in the name of my etharch, essentially. And what I'd like to do is to see what I can kind of drum up on short notice, essentially. I would imagine that it's going to be a bit of a journey, but again, for me, the purpose of this is to not have assistance on our journey, but to have, it's sort of almost like a role to check complete disaster from happening in this region when we're not in it, essentially, using my own guys, essentially, and some other help if I can get it to manifest. So that's my idea.
Yeah. So who are you contacting?
Well, it would be, because I left someone in charge back home. It would be not my wife, because obviously she also has her own stuff to rule over as well. Where's, hold on, you switched my pages. Hold on, I gotta switch back to the other one. Give me 1 second. So my steward is Arendiel. He's like a cousin, basically. But he's looking after the place and my kid and my wife, and just making things keep running smooth while I'm not around. So he'd probably be the point of contact, I'd say, if I was kind of gonna be like, hey, I want you to talk to some guys around town, scare up some troops, send them my way.
So the way that works is it just happens. You don't need to roll for it because this individual is one of your relationships. You always have access to it. There's no risk there for you don't need to roll for the circles for that. So you can literally pen this guy a message. Off it goes.
Tell him I need like as many.
I need help.
Spare, essentially. Okay, fair enough. I have ideas for who that might be and who gets sent and everything like that. We can talk about that.
So we can. Yeah, I suppose that's a good justification for like you contact your steward and you say, oh, you need to rustle up like all hands you can to send them to this place.
I mean, the equivalent of a legion would be nice, but if we don't have that,
and then we'll make a roll later on for you to be like, and now they're here, and then you see who turns up, because it's not going to be the steward, right? So
no, it'll be the legate of the captain of whatever forces. I have their names and everything on the side now when we need them. Okay, but I do want to make a circle roll, because I think the circle roll is to establish a new relationship that I don't have, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I do have. There's one other person in the region, well, not close, but in my mind, I had this thought, and it's a bit of world building, and I know the way the system works. We build as we go, essentially.
We build as we need to.
As we need to, right? Exactly. So I had the thought that there, a long time ago, when we were all happy-go-lucky, three kingdoms, 3 crowns, that there was a sort of let's just say like a far-flung elven city outpost along the rivers, down in the more, because we're more in the north and to the west, I think, the elven country, and so basically it was like more down river and kind of more in the center of everything. But when human lands went to shit, it got smashed to bits. And the survivors are all dark elves. Born to avenge their fallen city and their.
So there's not going to be a lot of them then, I guess.
No, it's like more like this is like it's like an elite group that they just kind of hang out in and around the ruins. They kill people when they can and express their anger. I know a person. I know a guy, essentially. Well, it's a gal, really, but she would probably be closer to hand and more vicious in case something really goes to shit around here while I'm not here. I was thinking about calling her up and seeing if she would lend some assistance.
That would be a wonderful circles roll to have. So let's look at this.
So
the first thing for you to determine is like what is their sort of profession or life path?
So she's comparable. So she's comparable to me, basically, in a way. She's basically the me of this group.
So my question is just for because
But far more vicious.
it's not going to impact that so much, but
Okay.
I want to know this flavor. Is she the you as a ranger, or is she the you as a prince?
Okay, so she is their leader. So she'd
Okay.
be, I guess, the equivalent of a prince at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But she has a
So-
similar background, except it's all like much more murder happy.
Yeah, and it went basically like these are ones. Now this is a question we might delve further into later on, so you might want to put the thinking cap on that. But
Mhm.
is this something that elves other than you also know, that there's
Yeah.
this like
Yes.
ruin where like that's where the people who didn't leave stay still, and they went bad.
Yeah, this is something we kind of all know about, but obviously those of us who are like on the borders actually interact with these people, not frequently, but we've had cause to meet before. And obviously like we kind of feel bad for them, they kind of feel like we're a bunch of ninnies, but we're all sort of, because we do the same job sort of, we kind of have this sort of like agreements that are not agreements kind of a thing, you know, unspoken, under the table sort of stuff.
Right. So we don't.
We call them Furies, these guys, so because they're obviously very, very angry.
So now then, do you want to be like, oh, I need your help at some point, or do you want to be like, get here stat?
Okay, so my I guess my purpose would be twofold. Is that obviously I need like someone to like guide my forces and a place for them to kind of like drop off. And so they're obviously their old haunt is along the river still. So I was thinking it was twofold. It was more like, would you like to join in for what's possibly going to be a good big old slaughter? Just need to help me get my guys there and watch this town. And if it goes to shit, just start doing what you do best, kind of a thing, and prevent disaster essentially.
Yeah.
And
so
it's kind of like that scene in Braveheart though, where the Irish guy asks if he gets to kill the English. They're kind of going to be like, well, do we get to kill possible humans along the way? And sure, cool, we're good with that. So,
right.
You know.
So she's going to join up with anyone who's sent from your home, and they're going to station at Strathfel, and they're going to try and keep a lid
in
on
and
it.
around it. Yeah, exactly. Keep
they're not going to pitch up a tent in front of the fucking gates.
No. They're going to do the elf thing. Yeah.
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 Okay. So, we understand this now. So,
Cool.
You want like a specific disposition.
Yeah. I'm just going to name this group the Furies because for the sake of having a name on it.
Yeah. And if you want to,
she has a name. The contact.
You can name her as well.
Yeah.
And you
Zerval is her name, her first name at least.
Yeah. So you can put this on your sheet as well.
I will. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So specific disposition is. Looks like my handout is from perhaps an older version, and it doesn't have the language that I recall from the book. So I will quickly reference that, but I think it's going to be obstacle 3 for you at this time. Uno momento. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go with obstacle 3.
Okay. So rolling my circles, yeah? Let me just get over.
Here we go.
I'm on the wrong stat. There we go.
Yeah. So specific disposition. Yeah, cool. We're good with the +2. So yeah, obstacle 3, and you're good to go.
All right. So nothing to add to it.
Yeah, no, she's not an Ethark or a.
No, obviously, no. This is, I mean, something else entirely.
This is.
I'm guessing their Ethark died, which is probably one reason why they're pissed. Okay, base obstacle 3.
Actually, that's something we could decide here.
Okay.
Because Ethark is also it's basically the nobles. So
yes.
Is she a noble?
She's a noble. She's a I see what you mean. Yes. So then she
doesn't
would
need to be the Ethark.
No. I see. Yeah. No. She is in the Etharkal class like I am. Yeah. That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
You can have your.
Let me go back here. Then
I'll
add that in there. Yep. Cool. Give me 1 second then. Submit 3, roll. Oof.
Oh, there we go. So what this means is comparing this like a teaching moment here to Matthew. So Matthew is going to get a result from the circles roll, and I already said, yeah, it's going to happen. But I'm going to invoke what's called the enmity clause, which is that, yeah, you get like this thing, but it's going to come with complications attached to it, or the person who turns up is going to have a let's say an unfavorable disposition towards whatever you want, and you succeeded, so
I don't have that problem.
This individual is gonna be helpful. And
I mean, we're kind of friends, but it's sort of hard to always be friends
which
with
is something we need to talk about later.
It's hard to be friends with people who hate everything and want to murder everyone. But
you're friends with a leader of the dark elves that live in the ruins of one of your elven cities, and I think we probably need to know why at a later point. Not now, but this is some shit. Like
if the people, sweetheart.
Yeah, if the people at home knew about this shit.
People at home.
Did you sing a song?
You only know that we do what's necessary for their protection.
Well, you are.
That's what they need.
Cousins of a sort.
We are, exactly. You know, there are people. It's just a matter of they've gone a certain path, and we want them back, of course. But people don't.
They no longer talk to you so much.
That's right. So
you
can imagine what I had to prove. What I needed to prove that I could be a guy they could work with.
Yeah.
Tyrell had to do some shit. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Back in Elf College, we all did some shit.
Story.
Yeah.
We did some
there's some shit, and then there's shit.
So we know now that your friend, quote unquote, is going to turn up and be helpful in this manner when it's time. It's going to take a bit, movements.
No. This is also that when we basically my idea here is obviously I agree with Larvier and Kameron what we're doing. We have to make priorities and focus on things, and obviously we're going to kind of stymie the King of the North's forces when we go to steal this object as much as possible. But I'd like to make sure that there's something to fall back to or come back to when we come back with the crown.
Yeah,
and I can't trust the humans to do that, so I need my own people in position.
And depending on how much you trust whatever opinion Rathawen might have, because Rathawen's basically just like anyone who goes up, it's just going to lose. Like it doesn't. There's no.
We'll determine that ourselves when we
contest.
Go. We'll determine that sort of information for ourselves when we go. I think. We're taking her on her word and her honor, but we're going to judge her by her actions, and we're also not going to be stupid. We're going to do our own things. Can I ask one other question for Pep, and then this will be my final thing. Then I know we're running late on time here, but in terms of if I wanted to have my forces bring me some swag equipment, would that be a resources roll?
Not really. That would be.
How does that work?
So curious. Resources is your personal. I mean, I suppose we could.
Because I left a lot of my equipment back home. That's kind of how I justified the stuff that I started with, basically.
So
I can't be looking like a pauper leading my dudes into.
I mean, I suppose we could make it work the way that you add the clause onto your letter, your contact with the steward is like, P.S.
Bring my armor.
Like get some armor and weapons, please.
Yeah, bring my shit with me, please.
And what we can then do is we can use your resources to roll for it. Now
to see how much I would be allowed to have, essentially.
Yeah, it's resources is a whole thing here.
Yeah,
and it is. Shall we say challenging?
So we'll make the request now, obviously, because we're doing it narratively, and then we can roll it out.
Yeah,
later,
we can roll it. Yeah, and just to sort of at least lay a sort of like base for whatever we're talking about here. So resources is a stat that sort of it folds in your material wealth and your sort of material possessions, other than just straight up currency and whatnot. So your possessions. And also favors you can call on, basically like social capital is folded in there as well. It's sort of
it's a big dump stat, basically.
It encompasses a lot of things. And when you roll resources, you're risking getting taxed.
Yes, I saw that.
So when you roll resources, you might lose your resources and not get anything for it. Basically, what that scenario tells you is like you called in a bunch of favors. Maybe you bribed some people. It's like, oh yeah, get me this shit or whatever, and it turned out to be nothing. and you wasted your time and your
Got
money,
lost
and now,
along the way. Got
yeah,
dumped,
and now
the
you have
boat
less
sunk
resources.
or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you.
So there's a
A risk.
big risk there compared to any other thing you roll on your sheet, because this one decreases as you mess up. So
yeah, I thought that would be the case with the system. Yeah.
Now you can impact that with what's called cash dice. So basically, if you a simplified scenario, you go to a fight, you kill your enemy, whatnot, you scavenge in their bodies for coins and things to sell, and then you generate with this scavenging, you generate cash dice, which are basically bags of coin.
Do that yet. Yeah.
And then your bags of coin are one use like points that you can use when you roll your resources. So if you have 2 cash dice, you can use those cash dice when you roll your resources, but then they're gone.
Yeah.
But they will have helped you in that roll.
Yeah,
So,
I get it.
So that's how it's sort of like quote unquote money works in Burning Wheel.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So if you want to sort of get money, it's always a good shout to go scavenging, and
we might loot this capital a little bit when we
pick up stuff like barber. If you wanted to convert your precious scepter into currency, there's some dice that we can talk about there, but we all know that art has greater value than silver. So yeah, let's give that a roll later down the line, like when they come up with the supply cards. It's like, hey, here's
besides, maybe at that point I'll have some loot to cushion the blow against.
Maybe we can figure that out as we go.
That sounds good to me.
Yep. So as a last thing before we quit, because we're indeed running on a bit, what do we do after our preparations have concluded? We've contacted people, we have gotten
we go north.
We're going north. Okay, so the idea was that you're going ahead of everyone else.
Yep.
And you're gonna make a straight shot, I guess, towards the old capital, which Rathwin has called Serath.
Yep.
And you're going to try and steal this thing that she really wants.
Yep. Pretty much.
Okay, good. Well, I suppose because this takes a bit of time and you got shit-faced as well. So I guess this is like in the morning.
Yeah.
Or like later in the day, next day, that is, that you set out. Right. Okay, good. Once again, we'll cut when you guys are heading off into the distance towards the Weeping Weald in the north.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for running it. Very much enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Right, I will wrap